over multiple states to the west of us. It appears the west coast is more or less used for a swamp cooler. Those conditions don't exist in the summer, so it's not so conducive for spraying here. And we do get reports of a lot of spraying in the Atlantic Basin in the summer. And there are multiple hurricane suppression patents, numerous patents, and one has to scratch their head and wonder why, since the end of '05, when the military reinstituted its hurricane suppression programs, we haven't seen anything since. So we seem to get a big break here in the summer. You know, again, this is all speculation. Can't know some of these dots for sure, but there seems to be increased report of a lot of aerial activity in the Atlantic Basin during the hurricane season. We seem to get a break here. When that dies down, they're back on top of us here. So one would assume there's only so much resources and there's only so many areas they can hit. Those dots do seem to connect.
Oh, very interesting you say that, because I noticed that this year. Nate and I were talking about that. And Chandler, too, we were sitting here talking about in the springtime, boom, they sprayed. Summertime, we didn't get that much. Towards the fall, we got hit again. Asthma incidences went up way crazy. We have another gentleman, Wally, on line 2. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's up?
We're just waiting for, what question do you have, Wally?
Hey, dude. Are they doing anything about this at all? I know that they went to Sacramento and stuff like that. What's the position of the government?
As far as, when you say are they doing anything about it, or
specify.
After you going to the government and pointing this out, are they going to do anything?
Oh, there. You know, I've been in Barbara Boxer's office. I've been in high-level EPA meetings. I've been in front of the Energy Commission. I've been in front of the Air Quality Board. I mean, this issue is avoided like the plague by all governmental agencies. They won't give you the time of day. I've been in EPA. Again, they didn't care if there was radioactive plutonium in the rain. They didn't give a damn about any of that. The system is designed not to show this, and the only thing that will make the system respond is a whole lot of public awareness and a hell of a lot of public pressure, because we are all being sprayed like lab rats, period. And people don't think this stuff can go on, but it absolutely is. And when you have, again, these geoengineers pushing and touting these programs that they urgently say have to be deployed yesterday as if they're not already, and they've not done a single study on the effect of human health, environmental toxicity, and so forth, clearly, the last thing that anybody in the government is going to do, it appears, is to help expose these programs. That's up to us.
But I do want to bring this back to 2001, and I want to mention Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who in his Space Preservation Act, which essentially was a bill banning space weapons, he specifically mentioned the word and called for the banning of chemtrails. Before the bill went for vote, the word chemtrails was actually removed. Now, I do know that he had some loss of family members during that year. Don't know if it's related, purely speculation. However, you know, I think it does indicate that any public official that's willing to address this on a public basis, which we have had many before or after office, openly admit that. In What in the World Are They Spraying? We interviewed a senator from Arizona, Senator Johnson, who is very open about this. But what it appears, because again, they're multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar operations, they're black operations, and they're illegal.
Yes.
So if they are proposed, which they have been, it's been removed from the bill. So it appears that there is an enormous amount of pressure because of what these programs are. And again, they're very damaging to ecology and also to human health. People are being affected by this. And the physicians, and I know that we're going to be talking about this, that we spoke to, said these metals are very toxic to human health. So to address this would be taboo if you're in office.
Yeah, and, you know, we've seen too much of that happen out there. Every time, that was fantastic. Every time a politician gets involved, something happens and they back off. I've noticed that, especially with subjects pertaining like this or the vaccines or anything.
That's right, and I want to take this a step further, because these are illegal programs and they are a violation of our human rights. We cannot depend on politicians. We cannot depend on governments. We cannot depend on agencies. It is very important that we depend on ourselves. and we have to address this, and we have to take this into our own hands. And I think in America here, we've been conditioned to depend on certain groups and other people to address things. This bottom line is this: these programs affect each and every one of us in a very negative way, and it's up to each and every one of us to address this.
And to answer, one more point to answer what our government is doing at this point in time. You had a treaty signed 3 weeks ago in Nagoya, Japan, 193 nation UN delegation calling for an immediate moratorium on all geoengineering. The U.S. and Britain flipped the middle finger. So that shows where our country's at with this. They absolutely will sign nothing or acknowledge no commitment to stopping what certainly is going on. So, I mean, that's a very big red flag. 193 nation delegation signing a call for an immediate moratorium on all global geoengineering. The U.S. and Britain said, no way.
Well, I listened to a thing that they were talking about in Parliament, and they were making a big game out of this, laughing and joking. Ladies and gentlemen out there, this is your future. This is I'm a grandfather, I'm a father, I'm a husband. You got children out there, grandchildren. This is something to seriously be worried about and something to research. Like we say on this radio show, don't believe what we say. Do your own research. You're going to find out that these two gentlemen right here are hitting the nail on the head and in a big way.
Yeah, it's all about follow the money for sure, and it's not just happening in America. While you will be able to see it in every state, but it's happening on the global wide area. So it's we got to be careful.
Mostly NATO countries is what we're seeing is happening, really, from the research I've done. But you were talking about Mr. Murphy here about the medical aspect of this.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. During the course of What in the World Are They Spraying, we did interview a number of healthcare professionals and physicians and a metals expert who is actually a dentist. And what we did find out, of course, which we knew, aluminum is very toxic to human health. And I want to go back to several studies. Aluminum is believed to be linked to Alzheimer's. In L.A. County alone, within a 10-year period, we saw over a 200% increase in Alzheimer's alone. And around the world, we have seen an increase in aluminum-related diseases. Amazing. But let's talk about some of the other things that we've been finding. We've been finding barium and strontium. We know that barium reduces our immune system, especially if we inhale it every day, and barium increases high blood pressure. The emergency room physicians who we spoke to, and any emergency room physician who is aware of the aerosol spraying will tell you, during heavy spray days, emergency rooms are packed with people complaining of irritability, burning eyes, upset stomach, headache, flu-like symptoms, but then some deeper symptoms because it does cause high blood pressure, strokes, and heart attacks are on the rise. And again, these metals do compromise our immune system. Strontium, which again is being found as well, is a carcinogen. Definitely. What have we seen since the inception of these programs in the past 10 to 15 years? An incredible increase in cancers. And these metals have an accumulative effect. So they will together compromise the immune system. And again, we've seen an incredible increase in illness since this disease. I want to also bring up one more point, respiratory mortality.
Yes.
In the past 5 years has gone from number 8 to number 3 on the list of mortality. Of course, during that time, we have seen a dramatic increase in the aerosol spraying or the aerial emittance from these airplanes. So bottom line is this is compromising human health. People are being affected by these programs, and we're deeply concerned about it.
Oh, definitely.
And a point that people should keep in mind, that just because you don't see a grid pattern above your head doesn't mean there isn't aerosols in the air. People should wonder, where has the blue sky gone? And when you see clouds that look more like cobwebs or more like smoke, they look like smoke because smoke is a particulate. The aerosol disbursements are a particulate. So it's again, not just a grid pattern or X's or long parallel lines. If you see wispy, cobwebby looking, very undefined upper-level haze that blots the blue sky into some sort of a dirty white mess, that is indicative of aerosol disbursement, and that is one of the primary negatives freely admitted to by the geoengineers, that we will have no more blue sky.
True.
So again, just because, or even if there's natural cloud cover over, doesn't mean they're not on top of it dispersing as well. So again, the proof is in the precipitation tests and the amount of metal in that rain that absolutely, positively should not be there, and it is. And there's been virtually no